Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kingdom's Queens podcast. We are officially 16 days away from NFL kickoff. I cannot believe it. We made it. We made it 16 days. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I do a countdown. And so we are Len Dawson days away from NFL kickoff. Just super excited. We have had a lot happen in Chiefs Kingdom today, so I feel like there's a lot to talk about with everyone. Chris Jones wise, and we had a great game against the Arizona Cardinals in our preseason last week. So can't wait to kick it off with you all. But I'm your host Lexi.
I'm Chrissy,
and I'm Jody. I guess I should have made sure this was on first.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. I know. I was like, oh.
Where's your hey y'all?
All right, so because I had to redo today's outline 2 or 3 different times, now we're going to start the day with Chris Jones because that is exactly what we wanted to do on this podcast today. We wanted to talk about Chris Jones for a 5th straight week. So, lots of drama. Somebody's being a diva. It's not me today. So Chris Jones had a lot to say about, he first tweeted out a picture. God, I guess I will find it. Do you have the picture?
No, I could find it real quick if you want.
I can too, but he originally first tweeted out a picture, and the picture said, did I block Chris Jones? No. Okay, the picture. Look, it's on. Okay.
Did I block him?
It says, if it's out of your hands, it deserves freedom from your mind also. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start there. You tweeted that first. And then I think someone tweeted at him and they were like, so Chris Jones or CJ, when are you going to come back? And then he tweeted something along the lines of like week 8. And then he said something else. It was like 3 different things today.
He's been fighting with Chiefs fans, man.
And I'm just like, what is going on with Chris Jones? So again, this was not an itinerary, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So give me y'all thoughts, and then I will give my thoughts.
Yeah. So y'all know how I've thought about Chris Jones this whole time. It was that I can't afford it to sit out.
I can afford it. And
I can afford it.
I believe as of yesterday, with him missing all of training camp, he had accrued up to about $1.6 million in fines already. So
yeah. So y'all know how I feel about how Chris Jones has missed camp and how I feel like that makes him a bad leader and et cetera, et cetera. I get it's a business. However, I still wanted Chris Jones 100% on the team, et cetera, et cetera. I cared until he started trolling and fighting Chiefs fans on social media now, apparently. It's just first the cryptic tweets and then the weird thing with that one director guy, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Michael, and now,
yeah.
And now it's like, he's literally responding. The Transformers guy. The Transformers guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, so then you've got that, and we're just like, he told me he quit the team, and we're just like, what? Like, what? And now you've got like him saying like, oh, well, I'm going to sit out till week 8, and I can afford it. And it's just why are we in this situation? Like, the thing that confuses me is the Chiefs fans are not the one handing out the contract. We're the ones who are like, yeah, sign CJ all last year, extend CJ, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like he's trying to turn us against him with his behavior.
It's weird.
And and Chiefs Twitter, like, I'm not going to lie, as a whole, we're a bit dramatic. I get it. Okay. Yeah. However, he's not even giving us like a reason not to be dramatic at this point. He's like, it's like he wants to poke the bear and he thinks it's funny. And I don't think it's funny because God, Chiefs Twitter is in shambles.
I know.
Deep breath.
I went to Hy-Vee today, and the cashier, an old elder man at Hy-Vee, wanted to chat with me because I came in with this shirt on to Hy-Vee. And he's like, what do you think about the Chris Jones situation?
Oh, God.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really going to talk about this at the cash register. And he went on and on about it for like 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You're like, please ring me out, sir.
But Chris Jones has this city, this city in shambles.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chris Jones, I respect the hell out of him for what he's done for our team and the player he's been and what he's brought to this organization. He is a fantastic player. He's always crossed me as such a team player.
Yes.
And the way he's acting this offseason, it's like something I could have never seen coming. And I think you guys feel that way too. It's like we just didn't see this type of thing coming from Chris Jones.
Feel totally blindsided.
And it's so funny because yes, social media is in shambles, mainly Twitter. But someone said something in a comment to, like, there was an argument because there's been tons of arguments on the timeline. But there was an argument and someone said something that I was like, oh my God, like exactly that, right? She said, people are acting like Chiefs fans are upset that Chris Jones is holding out. We're not upset that he's holding out. We're upset at the way that you're coming at the fans, right? And that you're treating the fan base.
Yeah.
That is what we're upset about. We understand you deserve your money. I know a lot of people say that he deserves to be the second highest paid. I do think he should be the first highest paid, especially knowing what he can bring to this team in the next 2-3 years. I know what Chris Jones can do to this defense. He elevates the people around him. That's common sense, and no one is taking that away at all from him. But the way that you're treating the fan base, that is a problem for me. And everyone's like, don't be emotional. Well, I'm not being emotional, but if you're going to sit here and try to threaten us with a good time and say you're not coming back till week 8, well, then don't come back till week 8 then. Like,
and stop playing with us.
Yourself. So, you're not going to get your contract because you're not making the days that you're supposed to. You're not going to get the amount of games that you're supposed to hit for the season to get paid. So if you feel like you want to sit down until week 8, you're hurting your own pockets, not our pockets, even if you can't afford it.
So I feel like we need to give a little clarity. So Chris Jones, he tweeted that he could afford to sit out until week 8.
Well, no, he literally, those were 2 separate tweets.
Correct.
Yeah, he's been
week 8. And
they said, when are you going to be back, Chris? And he said, week 8. And then they're like, man, that's a hefty dollar or something. And he goes, I can afford it.
Exactly.
And it's like,
well, first of all, we didn't ask about how deep your pockets are. We know that they're deep.
We know they're deep.
We're poor, okay? We get it. You're rich. We're poor. Let's move on.
Exactly. And we know that you got the bread. The Chiefs gave you a great contract a few years ago. So we know exactly what you've been paid, which again, you deserve to be paid. No one is
absolutely.
But to disrespect the fan base, I'm taking it as disrespect as somebody who has had Chris Jones's back. And I remember arguing at the beginning of our episodes with y'all two on, if Chris Jones has to sit out to get paid, he has to sit out to get paid. I think that we have had several conversations with him on what maybe that dollar amount should be. There were rumors that they did offer him something north of what he's looking for, and he still declined it. So now I'm like, I don't know if you have a bad agent, because that's what it's giving. Your agent is desperate. Yeah, your agent is desperate, maybe.
So my thing is like, it is his agent.
Yeah.
Or his agents to some point. But at some point, it kind of reflects on your own character.
Correct.
Because your agent is working for you. You are their biggest client.
You have the power to say, let's take this deal and move on.
Yeah. And he's not taking that. And my thing is like, we love Chris Jones. Everyone in Chiefs Kingdom loves Chris Jones. Like any realistic Chiefs fan does not want him to go anywhere. But my theory is that, okay, so this is my theory on what Chris Jones does this season, I guess, is that
I'm excited for this.
This is what I think is going to happen. He is on his final year of the extension we gave him the first time, right?
Contract year.
So he's on his contract year. He, regardless, cannot not show up until week 8. And if he does that, that is, I'm sorry, but not a smart thing to do at all, because even if he wants to get paid, you are not going to get paid if you sit out for 8 weeks of the season.
No,
It doesn't matter if it's by us or by someone else. He's not going to get paid.
He's not going to get the money he's owed for this year either.
That too. Yeah.
Right.
So my thing is like, he has to show up and show out this year. And I actually think that he is going to give us, if you guys remember, he tweeted out like a few months ago, he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, you have to show up for every single game.
Yeah,
in my honest opinion, I think he is going to show up. I think he's going to be there for week 1. I think that means he has to show up like this weekend, maybe Monday by next week.
There was
Saturday and Monday.
There was a debate on that because we don't play on a Sunday. We play on
Thursday. So yeah, but I think he has to show up and show out this season. So my theory is that's what he does, and he's not going to actually skip. I think he's just completely trolling, which is not cool for Chiefs fans, because what did Chiefs fans do to you that we deserve to be trolled? Like,
especially when we want you to get paid. It's not like we're like, don't pay.
No. Like,
he doesn't deserve to be paid. I don't think we've heard that from anybody.
No.
We understand that you deserve to get paid. We all understand that.
We were all saying it last year. Pay that man. Pay that man.
During the Super Bowl, during the playoffs, Eagles game, we were like, pay this man. Like, this is
like we've been chanting it. This is it's crazy to me. Like that, it feels like he's taking his frustration out on whatever the heck is going on with the contract, out on us, which we have nothing to do with. We're just sitting here in the dark, like, hey, what's going on, Chris? Like, are you gonna play? Like, we love watching you play. You're awesome. We need you. Like, are you gonna?
I don't know if it's like building like the momentum for his contract, or I don't know like what it's doing, but there's something he's
helping.
There's something he's getting from it that like he thinks it's helping.
I think he likes the attention. Honestly, I think it's not that he didn't get attention before. I mean, good Lord, he was. We've called him like the quarterback of our defense. So like obviously we loved him before this, so he got the attention. But I don't know. The whole thing seems so bizarre to me because
it's so bizarre.
I don't understand it.
But see, I started
feeling him acting like
this. I started feeling like not long into this, like once we were getting to training camp, I started getting like Tyreek vibes very early on. And
you said that.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm starting to get Tyreek vibes. And I'm like, I don't know why, but it's literally turning into something like that where it's just like, it would be really stupid of him to sit out. But at this point, it wouldn't surprise me at this point if he were to sit out, because I never anticipated it getting to this level. And like, to tell you guys my love of Chris Jones, the day he signed his last contract with us, I adopted a cat that I named Jonesy. Okay. Aww. After Chris Jones. Okay, granted, that cat passed away at 6 months old, but it's okay. Anyway, but moving forward, but like, I love Chris Jones. I love him. So to see him behaving and acting like this with this huge ego diva vibes and trolling Chiefs Twitter. And for those of you who say he's not trolling, y'all need a reality check, because he is.
Reality check.
Like, take off your rose-colored glasses. Stop trying to get in with Chris Jones, because guess what? You're not. And realize, he's trolling because he thinks it's fun. He likes the attention. So stop bashing the Chiefs fans who see it for what it is, please. Because it's driving me crazy.
Since we were
get it off my chest.
14, sitting in negative degree weather at Arrowhead, watching a great defense and a terrible offense. Like, I don't want to hear it. Okay.
No,
I don't want to hear it. No, I agree with you though. I think this situation is really weird. I don't know where like it's coming from. I don't even think Tyreek was this bad.
No. Tyreek was just all of a sudden like, what?
Tyreek was just
all of a sudden we're like, wait, he's traded.
And I do want to go back on something that I said. I wanted Chris Jones to hold out to get paid. I still want him to get paid. I don't think him missing training camp is that big of a deal, personally. Now, I will say, do I expect him to be in season shape? Y'all heard the presser today, and you heard what Spags said. You know, there's a difference between being in shape and there's a difference between being in football shape. Those are two different things.
Yep.
And
It's
so
true.
is he going to show up and be in football shape, right? And you guys know, unfortunately, there's a history of players who have not played or they've set out or whatever, and they've come back because they haven't been getting the reps that they've been getting, and they've had a tweak or they've had some type of injury or something like that. So I would hate for something of that stature to happen because – and I don't want to say Chris Jones is being stubborn because I do want him to get paid. And if this is what it takes for him to get paid, cool. But like you said, Chrissy, you're trolling the fans. And now this is a different level. Like,
you know,
you're acting like Chiefs fans don't want you to get the bread, don't want you to get the bag, don't want you to get paid. We want that for you. But trolling us, that's another problem for me. And now me being the person that I am, the emotional person that I am, I take offense to this as somebody who's been a Chiefs fan for a really long time, and I don't like being played with. So.
No,
it's almost like he wants us all to suck up to him,
and I'm not.
Like,
and it's doing the opposite.
Some people are, I guess.
I mean, there's a lot of people in Chiefs games who are.
I'd say it's like 50-50, honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
But that's not
true.
fair
It's
to
really
do.
like 75-20. 5.
You think?
75-25.
I think about 25. I think there's 75% of Chiefs fans who are, oh my God, we just need to do whatever we need to do and get him paid.
I mean, I literally had a tweet that was like, just pay him. I don't care. Obviously, it was a little jokingly because don't give him whatever, obviously, because some people took that seriously. And then I was being an emotional.
You can't be, Chrissy, you can't be sarcastic on Twitter.
Obviously, you can't be sarcastic on Twitter.
There's a lot of things you can't be because
you can't be sarcastic on Twitter.
No, people don't understand joking.
No, not at all.
You're probably saying the same thing about Chris Jones, though. He's being sarcastic, and you guys are falling into it. Yeah, I don't also make $30 million a year. Okay,
right. And with
not
Chris
even
Jones, I just feel like there's nothing us as fans that we can do. Like, we can say all we want, and that's not going to like motivate Brett Veach to do anything. Brett Veach is probably at an amount right now. And it's probably like 28 million, 27 million a year. And Chris Jones is probably like, I want 30 million a year. And they're just at their differences. And I did hear today that they're further apart on their differences than they are closer.
Too, but I don't know if that's true.
So I don't know.
No one knows what
no one really knows.
No one knows what Chris Jones is looking for.
Exactly.
No one knows what the office has offered him. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of skepticism. That's
skepticism.
Skepticism. Of that happening right now, and it's really unfortunate because no one has a clue what's happening. I do want to ask y'all a question before we pivot into actually what the podcast is supposed to be about today.
Yeah.
So in the last hour, I told you this was going to go longer than 15 minutes.
Of course.
You did.
Go longer than 15 minutes. But
jeez.
In the last hour, while I was trying to get ready for this podcast, because I went to the gym before this.
Hey, me too. You look much better than I do, though. So good job.
Yeah, I mean.
I went this morning.
You did go
this morning. Us girls. I'm so proud of us. Yeah. Okay, sorry, that was a girl moment. Y'all can be proud we're working out. Be proud of us.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Exactly. In the last hour, here are all the things I heard on Twitter. And I just want to know y'all thoughts. And please, in the comments, please give us your thoughts. I cannot wait to hear.
Yeah. Like your product placement is on point.
For the folks. Go to our sponsor, Ken Seltzer. For the folks. But the Chiefs will no longer be a dynasty if Chris Jones is not on this team. That is one thing.
These are things she has heard. She's not saying.
This is not us.
These are not us. Heard. Chris Jones, the Chiefs will not be a dynasty if Chris Jones is not on this team, 1. 2, our window in the next 1 to 3 years has now closed without Chris Jones. We will not make it to the Super Bowl. Even though we have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Okay. I also heard our defense is bottom 10 without Chris Jones.
What else is new? Sorry.
Do we want to talk about the 2020 team that went to the Super Bowl?
Right.
Do we want to go there?
Guys, come on.
You already know what that defense was literally the whole entire season.
Right.
Jake.
So those are the three things that I want to bring to your attention that I've heard from social media in the last hour. It has been fantastic. What are your thoughts on those three things?
I say people say I'm dramatic. I'm not saying any of those things. Yes, will our defense look different without Chris Jones? Yes. Absolutely. And I also realize I'm the annoying positive Chiefs fan, so bear with me, y'all, okay? There has to be one of us. There has to be one of us. But I'm just saying, like, I really think that we're going to be okay. Next man up has been our mantra for years. And if you look at how our defense played against Arizona, and yes, I know Arizona sucks. Okay, I get it. Calm down.
We're going to get into it. We're going to get it.
It was like
preseason, okay? It's
preseason. I know it's preseason, but it was like 31-0, and that's still a feat.
Yeah.
Okay, like holding any team to no points is great. I think we have a lot of young leaders on that team. I think Nick Bolton. I think Willie Gay. I think Drew Tranquill. I think all three linebackers. And I think Drew Tranquill is going to be more kind of like a linebacker / outside rusher a little bit. Yeah. Because he almost had a sack last game, didn't he? Or did he get a sack?
No.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
He was actually really, really close.
He was,
but I think it actually ended up in a penalty or something.
Yeah. So probably something.
Yeah.
But like, I really think like, yes, it will not be something we can replace Chris Jones. He is not replaceable. We all understand that. However, people who are saying the end is happening, like, oh, it's the end of the world without Chris Jones. Do you not remember last season, Tyreek got traded and everyone said, oh, the end is we can't do this now.
But
Patrick Mahomes.
Finish your point. The argument to that is because there was but Tyreek Hill left the you see what we did to rebuild. The argument to that has been, but Tyreek Hill and Chris Jones are nothing alike. They're two totally different positions. Chris Jones is the quarterback of the defense. Tyreek Hill was just a receiver, and we went and got another receiver. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of the offense.
Sure.
Duh, right?
Yeah.
Finish, because you're going to say probably.
But also, you have Patrick Mahomes, guys.
And
Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, who have done a pretty phenomenal job with our offense when you were given a random slate of not very high named wide receivers last year. We're still the number one offense in the NFL. Yeah. And if you're looking for the best fix for a bad defense, which I don't think we're going to have, the best fix for a bad defense is a phenomenal offense. And that is what we have.
Exactly. I think what people forget too is that Chris Jones. Okay.
Exactly.
I absolutely
said, hey, Sean. He said Chris Jones missed a playoff game that we won. A lot of Chiefs fans don't remember that, Sean.
Yeah, well, they don't, Sean. How dare you bring logic to this conversation, Sean?
Bring logic. Oh my God. Go ahead.
I want to say, as much as I love Chris Jones, I adore him as a player. I love him. He did not have a playoff sack until last season.
Right.
We've made the AFC Championship game 5 years in a row at home. Chris Jones did not have a playoff sack until last season. So if you want to say that we cannot win a championship without him, I'm sorry, but like, come on.
Absurd.
Calm down.
Correct. Agreed. No, I 100% agree with you. And I think my biggest argument was I genuinely hated the disrespect to the rest of the guys on this defense who have been playing lights out, especially all of those rookies that came last season and played lights out. There were so many plays that we couldn't get off the field, and when we did, it was because a rookie did it. Like, don't give disrespect to these 2-year players. I feel better about our secondary than our defensive line. But I do think that we have great people on our defensive line who are going to be able to come in here and make an impact. And there were several times where our defense could not get a stop and the other team went and scored. And then Patrick Mahomes and his offense and Andy Reid had to go get us out of the not stop that they couldn't get for us. So it's really frustrating to hear people talk about how terrible the defense is and how not good they are and all of these things when we don't have literally the best head coach and the best tight end and the best quarterback in the NFL. You think they can't go down and score a touchdown in 13 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
I want to respond to this comment real quick. Jeremy, I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I was being the dramatic side that thinks our defense is going to suck without Chris Jones. I do not think our defense is going to suck. I just wanted to call that out because I didn't want what I said to be taken to where I love our defense.
Really might have been late.
I would love Chris Jones on there, but you know what? I love the pieces we have on our defense. I love Justin Reed. I love Nick Bolton. I love all of our linebackers. I love our secondary. I'm not going to count on Snead right now because the knee thing, not going to lie, freaks me out.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
We should probably pivot.
But I just wanted to point that out. I think our defense will be fine.
Yeah.
But I was saying from the point of view from the people who think our defense sucks, this is the best fix for a bad defense is an amazing offense. So that's where I was going.
And to say our window is closed is like the
dumb.
It's ridiculous.
I love these people who gave us these takes today. And I was like,
I love it.
That was a terrible trash take. And I expect you to have a better football take than that from someone I was listening to.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So we did just have this preseason game. Week 2 was a whole lot better than week 1. We went to Arizona. We won for the 3rd time in Arizona in the last 4 days. So that we won 3 times.
Just another Arrowhead West.
Just another Arrowhead West. Okay? I want to get into this and let's recap. But I do think that since we were talking about the defense, it's kind of important. Let's just go ahead and start there. I know that there were some things that I didn't personally like when I watched our defense against this Cardinals team who's supposed to be bottom of the NFL, not division, the NFL. But I do think that, we're still – I will take what production they gave us this week way over the production that they gave us week 1. And I'm actually really happy that Andy and Spags left them boys out there because they needed to get those reps in. Yeah. So it was really good to see them play like through the first half of that game. So what are y'all thoughts about like the defense from last week, Saturday? Lord, what are your thoughts about Saturday from the preseason game?
I thought that there was obviously a definite improvement from week 1. Week 1 was, the one series that our starting guys played, it was not great. I do think that our defense looked much better. There was some bright moments I felt. Like we'll get into our players of the game later, but I do think I saw a lot of really good things. I think our coverage by our secondary was pretty spot on. They weren't leaving much room for the Cardinals to do anything with, which I appreciate. Yeah. Including the backups and the seconds, the thirds, fourths, whoever's the guys trying to make that team. I thought we looked really deep on defense. And that was the thing that probably stood out to me was just how deep our defense and our offense, but we'll get into that later. We just seem really deep right now. And I know it's preseason and it's easy for everyone to shine right now, but I was happy with the depth that I saw, especially in the secondary.
If you've watched previous training camps, right, or preseason games, I don't think I've ever felt like, and we spoke about it before when we were in mini camps, when we were in OTAs, Coach spoke about how deep this team is and everybody is playing for a roster spot. And that is why we started early. We were one of the first teams to go into training camp. This is why Patrick and them started training in April in Texas. You know what I mean? Because we know how deep we are all around. So I totally agree with you. It feels different this year, and I feel like every year we say that, but this year it feels like we have extra pieces everywhere except maybe the defensive line. But it feels like we're deep everywhere. So
I feel like too with the Arizona Cardinals, I feel like the players on that team feel so disrespected because they're expected to do so poorly. And so they came out really strong against the Broncos last week. And they crushed the Broncos. And so coming out this week, I thought with the Cardinals, I was like, all right, we're expected to beat them, right? Because they are who they are. But I actually think they gave us more of a challenge than I expected. Their offense is not great, but I feel like their defensive players, they had a few guys where I was like, okay, that guy's good, and that guy's good.
We need Buda Baker now.
Buda Baker's fantastic. They had a guy named Woods. His last name was Woods on defense. He did really good. He was like up against our first team offense. He was fantastic. So, I feel like the Cardinals, while they're kind of expected to tank this season, I feel like their players don't want that. And I don't feel like players ever want that, but I feel like their players are like, all right, we're being completely disrespected by the entire NFL. So let's just go out and show out and give it what we got, So that's kind of how I feel about the Cardinals right now.
And this team won a whole Super Bowl on our field last year.
This is the reigning Super Bowl champions coming to our field where they just won.
And we embarrassed them on their field last year.
Exactly.
Very similar sport, I feel like.
Yeah. All the Chiefs do is win in Arizona. That's all we do.
Win, no matter what.
Right. But no. But I think overall it was a slow start for our offense. It was like very underwhelming. Everyone was kind of like, okay, what are we doing here?
Like we were like 3 and out the first 2 possessions.
Mahomes literally the first pass was a shuttle pass to Travis Kelce, and he drops it, and you're just like, come on, man.
However, I expect Travis Kelce to have that.
Always.
He looked shocked that the ball came to him. I'm like, well, that's different. Y'all are like ESP here.
Like, what are we doing? But
like, we already got a connection. What are you doing here, Pat?
Right. But and then you have another play where Travis Kelce's like completely wide open, and then Mahomes is trying to get the ball to MVS. It's just like, it's a mess. But I think once they found their groove, it was actually really nice to watch, and it like made me so confident in our offense this season. And you also know that like they're not play calling anything special. So it's just a bunch of like really average play calls where they're just trying to get the ball out and trying to get a touchdown. And they finally did, to our beloved Justin Watson, who Chiefs Kingdom is not a fan of. And I loved that the first touchdown went to him, because I'm like, you know what? He's going to make this roster. He's going to make the roster, whether y'all like it or not. And he's like wide receiver 5-ish, and he's fine. He's fine for that role. He's good for that role. And Andy Reid loves a guy like that on the offense.
And Mahomes trusts him.
Mahomes trusts him.
If Mahomes trusts him, that should be good enough for us.
Let's be technical here. Is it hard for Patrick to build a relationship with any receiver?
No.
Right.
Heck no.
So that's why I'm like, it'd be different. We were talking about literally any other quarterback.
Yeah.
Patrick can literally build chemistry with anybody.
With anyone.
He's like build chemistry with my dachshund.
He's like, even though I might call a play. Oh my God. He's like, even if you call a play and you're not the number I call, but your ass is open, you better catch the ball.
Well, I think the fact that like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes last season, like at the beginning of the season, were playing, I think it was Call of Duty with Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster. And they were all playing. I'm like, that just like shows they like want this like relationship, and they want this team to do so well. So I feel like no matter who it is, whoever makes this roster, we're going to find out pretty soon. Whoever that is, they're going to make sure they have relationships with those guys, and it's going to be okay. So that's kind of how I feel after watching this offense.
And while you're saying that, like, I love the fact that every time you see Mahomes, MVS is right next to him.
He is. They're
constantly. He is right next to him. And all the wide receivers. Did we switch to offense? Did I miss it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Was there a transition, or did we
just say my defensive take before I say my offensive? It's fine.
Okay. But I think all the wide receivers in camp have talked about how wonderful of a leader MVS has been. And I love seeing him that way, and watching the franchise from this last episode that aired last week. Just, I don't know, watching the camaraderie between everybody, and like MVS like really being a part of this community and whatnot. I love that. So
I think he definitely realized like what his role is on this team, because there is a lot of newness in that receiver room.
Yeah.
Everywhere. besides him and Sky, it's everybody's new.
Everybody's new. They're all babies.
Yeah.
But I will
and
say,
well, and
what you said, I really love, like, Sky Moore was also just talking about how Travis has been a really good mentor for him too. Now, and I know that's tight end, wide receiver, but for him to also just be like that type of mentor and seeing what Travis has really done, like when I cannot get past last year. Well, I guess this year. Well, whatever. When Sky was talking about how like he was in his own head and he didn't, feel confident. And Travis, you got this. Like, there's always going to be another play. That stuck with me ever since, like, I've heard that. So I can only imagine, like, how much that meant to Sky. But the defense, since y'all went, the defensive line was tough to watch, can't lie. But at the same time, we didn't really see a ton of, like, the Willie Gay, the Nick Bolton, you know what I mean? So, but I will say, like, I loved everything that I seen from FAU. I loved everything that I seen from Drew Tranquill. Secondary did look really good. Justin Reed did have a tackle for everybody who hates Justin Reed and thinks that.
I love Justin Reed.
Yeah, a lot of people are not high on him.
I know.
Him after this season. And I'm not there yet. I will say, like, a few of the conversations I've had have been like, do we think him gaining weight is a good thing or a bad thing? But I also think I'm not going to be able to make that prediction until we're actually into the season. But no, I mean, I'm not like super down on our defense yet. I always know that our defense starts off slow too. So regardless if Chris Jones is on this team or not, the first few games, the defense always starts off like they got rust or something. And I don't get it. I don't understand why they do this year after year after year after year. So, I mean, I think everybody is expecting this defense to come out and pick up exactly where they left off on this Super Bowl team, and that is not who this defense is going to start off.
No, and
I will say I also did love seeing Keandre Colburn getting some runs.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, me too.
I love that. That's my guy. I'm very high.
You and Mahomes seem to have a funny relationship too.
They do. I love it.
It's so cute. I love it.
They do their like little
whatever
basketball.
He's like the little brother. Yeah,
right.
He's like. It's like
I'm
hoping, like it's cute.
I'm hoping Nick Jones' fingers is just not like a real thing. Like, just tape it up and keep it going. So
because was it Watson who had the broken hand last season, or was that Williams?
Yeah, last season, just
Watson. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, he caught an interception with the hand that he broke. So I mean, I feel like you can play. You just maybe can't grab. Which, hey, don't be grabbing.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Your other hand,
put some bubble wrap and go.
Just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Adrenaline. Yeah. And no, the offense, I was really happy about the offense. Again, I feel like they finally started clicking after a little bit. Those first two possessions were tough to watch. But I do feel like Pat was like, leave me in here until I score. And then they finally kind of started clicking on all cylinders. And they look like them old selves again. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about our players of the game.
Players of the game.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Let's start with offense. Who are your players of the game for the offense?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so my offensive player of the game was shocker, Rashee Rice. Y'all know I've been on a hype train forever for that man.
Let's go.
He had like 96. I didn't look it up, but it was like 96 yards and a touchdown. And he was a yards after the catch machine.
Merchant.
Y'all know I love Rashee Rice. Mm-hmm. I think he has so much potential to be just a steal of the draft.
Yep.
And that was my offensive player of the game. And he's a rookie, so heck yeah.
Did you see the record he had?
No.
He led all wide receivers in the preseason in yards after catch.
Oh, yes. And wasn't he like the top rated?
Yeah, like 98.
Yeah. So he's doing fantastic. I'm so proud.
I am the Rashee Rice hype woman, y'all.
I'm totally on that train.
Choo choo.
Especially because he compares himself to Juju Smith. He had
and Sammy Watkins.
A healthy Sammy Watkins is what people are calling him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Patrick said.
Mahomes, yeah.
8 catches, 96 yards.
Oh, yeah. So I was right. Look at me.
Yeah.
Not just a hat rack, my friends. Hey.
Not Friends reference there.
Totally was. Thank you.
I got you. Not just a hat rack. Yes, I love Rashee Rice. My offensive player of the game is actually going to be Donovan Smith.
Yeah.
Because he was a big question mark coming into this season for us. And a lot of people were very...
For y'all, not for me.
Not for me either. I was never...
I didn't have concerns.
Not y'all. Not y'all.
Jeez. A lot of you other Chiefs fans, okay?
Them.
Right, them. So none of us, I have been on the Donovan Smith train. Like I was never like weary of the signing or anything like that. I was like, okay, I welcome this guy on our team. I think he will be just as productive, if not more productive, as Orlando Brown Jr., as long as he can be as healthy as he was blocking for Tom Brady. And granted, he just had a down year last season because he was unhealthy.
Yeah, he got injured.
And he got injured.
That O-line was not as good that Tom Brady had.
Exactly. So if you have
a difference.
Exactly. So if you put him on an O-line with Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Jawan Taylor.
You guys, our O-line is insane.
I mean, it's insane. And I'm so freaking hyped on our O-line for this season. I cannot wait to watch them play more. But
cannot wait.
Did you hear what Patrick said about the scramble he had in the Arizona game? He's like, I've just been waiting, and like I didn't even need to run. I just felt like, I could have sat there forever, but I just decided to scramble just to do something.
Just for fun.
And he's like, I'm really
what
upset.
A problem to have, Patrick.
He's really upset that he hasn't been hit in the last 2 games. Like, what, Patrick?
And he was mad about it. He
was like, I needed that hit.
I love that. But I'm so excited about Donovan Smith. Like, that's the left tackle is arguably the most important position aside from quarterback. So to have him there and to have him doing that well, I mean, I know it's just been the Saints and the Cardinals, but he is pancaking people out there. Like, it's not even close. And it's not like penalties. Like, he is just doing so well. And then I want to give a quick little shout out to our guy for offense. Travis Kelce was in there blocking a lot in this game.
Always.
But I thought Travis Kelce couldn't block left.
No, he can't block.
I could have sworn that's what everybody says.
I need him to not, though, in the preseason.
No, same.
But yes, right? Like.
But he was fantastic in blocking this game. I was watching him and I was like, he looks so annoyed that he's blocking, but like he's doing it because he needs to, or whatever needs to, quote unquote. But he looked so good in blocking this game. And I was just so
he gotta get out. I don't know what's going on with them Kelce brothers.
I'm right.
What's going on?
Because Jason caused the fight today
too much family time.
I'm like, what is going on in the Kelce family? Where's Donna?
Something, man.
Donna, get control of your boys.
Donna, where are
you? Donna.
I do want to say, dang. Well,
who's your player?
My offensive player, and then if the thought comes back. Oh, I do want to say it came back. Whew. Thank you, left side of the brain. I just want to say that I am very, very proud of this reigning Super Bowl champion Chiefs team for playing pretty much almost the first quarter, the whole first half, because we're not too good to put our starters out there and to play every single week. This is why we are the team that we are, and we are dominant and we win. Because we're not too good to put our team out there in preseason to let them play. We understand that they need the reps. If we're starting training camp early, best believe we're going to have our guys out there week 1, 2, and 3. Yes. So I just want to say that we ain't too good, and I'm so proud of this Chiefs team already. But my offensive player of the game, a little bit of chaos. Shane Buechele.
Woo!
Wow. He's still going to be the third quarterback on this roster. I do not care what anybody says. There is not a quarterback controversy. He's going to be the third quarterback. on this roster. But
do that on Twitter, you guys.
I mean,
my posts like missed so many people's heads.
People went crazy. I was like, guys, it was obviously a joke.
You're like, no, there's not really, like, we just gave Blaine Gabbert a contract. He's the backup quarterback. Like, let's be serious here, people. Like, let's be serious.
Let's be for real.
But Shane Buechele, he went 10 for 10, 105. No touchdowns, but he balled out.
I thought he did have a touchdown.
Oh, he did have a touchdown.
He ran one in.
He definitely ran one in.
He did have one in. I was looking at rushing. He had no rushing. He threw one in. Yes.
Yeah, he rushed in, didn't he?
No.
Yeah. Buechele rushed one in.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, huh?
I'm literally looking at the stat.
Was that the first game?
Wait.
Not in this game, not against the Cardinals. He didn't.
Did he rush? When did he?
It might have been week 1.
I gotta look this up because I could have sworn that was last game. I can see it in my head.
Same.
I just can't.
Did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, he did. Sorry.
Making me feel crazy. Feel like you're trolling me like Chris Jones.
I apologize.
Trolling? Jody's trolling.
Jody's still trolling.
I was wrong. I have no problem with admitting that I'm wrong. Okay.
Thank you.
However, I want to give, he's my offensive player of the game. Everybody says that he's always like doing these Patrick Mahomes-esque things. And I mean, it makes sense. He sat behind him for a little bit, right? So
he's definitely better than last year, for sure.
100%. Not good enough to be the number 2 guy. But I appreciate like his gutsiness, all of this. Like the dude went out there and he balled out, and you could tell that he was building great chemistry with these running backs, with these receivers, with these tight ends in training camp. And you can just see that the Andy Reid training camp is paying off all of these players. Now, granted, every single quarterback had a great game. Patrick Mahomes actually had the lowest QBR rating out of all 4 of the quarterbacks.
Oh my gosh.
That played. Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
There's a controversy in the quarterback room. Oh my God. But yes.
The sky is falling.
No, so
I would just say I'm very happy to know that if something happened and we have to bring a quarterback in, we're going to be okay. And we miss you. We miss you so much. Anything
is possible.
But I think that we are going to be okay when it comes to the quarterbacks. So,
but I agree with you, Jody. I think Blaine Gabbert, I think it's his job to lose as the backup, because I think that's how Andy Reid usually rolls, and he loves himself a veteran. Exactly.
Loves himself a veteran.
So, but I do think Shane Buechele is making a good little case for himself. I think he balled out both of these games. He did fantastic, and I love that they played him behind our starting O-line for a few snaps. Yeah. And they totally had his back. Like, they totally love Shane. Like, you see, like, MVS, once they get off the field after Shane scores, like, they have this, like, little handshake they do. And,
I love it all.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Oh, no, I was just saying I love it all. I love I love how excited our ones get for the rest of the team.
I can't believe,
the offense with the defense, too, and the defense with the offense. Like, it's not even just, like, the offense and then it's everybody.
It's everybody.
The way this team loves winning is so amazing. Like, Willie Gay is coming up there with MVS congratulating Shane Buechele on his rushing touchdown, and I'm like, I just love the way they all celebrate together, and they just love winning. They love winning, and they're so ready to get there.
Who's your defensive player?
So mine was Chamari Connor. He was everywhere. I swear, every time the camera was on a play, he was involved somehow. He was our 4th round pick. He was like 119th overall. So in case everyone knows, he's also a rookie. But he had 4 tackles, 2 of them were solos, and he also had a pass deflected. And like, for coming in and trying to make a name for yourself, that is the way to do it, because he was everywhere. Everyone after this week knew who Chamari Connor was. So, and that's how you want to have a preseason game. Everybody knows who you are afterwards. That is exactly what Chamari Connor did. Number 27, in case people don't know who that is, number 27 from last week on defense, Chamari Connor.
Can you sing the cheer song? Where everybody knows.
Where everybody knows your name. Boom, 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 boom.
In there.
Great show.
Magic
Great
hand.
show, by the way.
Now it's gonna be stuck in my head the rest of the day, but it's fine.
Sorry. I apologize. Go ahead, Lexi.
You know what? I struggled with my defensive player of the game. I watched this game 3 times.
Same.
3 times, and I struggled to pick a defensive player, and that's not because our defense did bad. Our defense actually did very well. I just struggled to find like a star on the defense this game. I think someone I want to give a shout out. 2 guys I want to give a shout out to are Justin Reed and Leo Chenal. Justin Reed had a really rough game last week against the Saints.
Just a little bit.
Because you know what, Justin Reed, we love you, but you like to talk on Twitter.
A lot.
You like to like talk yourself up, which I appreciate, but you gotta like
You gotta back it up.
Yeah, back
and
it
he didn't quite back it up against the Saints.
Back it up.
But I feel like he knew that, and he had some really, really solid tackles this game. He, I feel like, came out with a purpose and made his. I saw him adjust late in the first quarter to where he needed to be, or he adjusted to where he needed to be, I should say. And that doesn't make any sense.
It made all this sense in the world.
He adjusted to where he needed to be. And then he made the tackle and stopped them from getting a 3rd down. So in that regard, I was very proud of Justin Reed because versus the Saints, he did not do that. So I thought he looked good. And then I thought Leo Chenal, he had a lot of like first team reps and second team reps, and he looked good in all of them. He was in on every single play. He's in on every single tackle that he needed to be in on. And I think he's going to have a good year too. So I'm excited for him as well.
He really picked it up in the second half of the season, especially in the playoffs. Leo Chenal, like, really.
And he was like, him and Colin Saunders are the only one to have a sack in the Super Bowl. So Leo Chenal, like, I'm excited about him. I think he looked really good in this game. If you watch like all of our first and second sets of downs, he was in on almost every single one.
Yeah,
right.
He's right where he needed to be.
I appreciate him being out there and actually getting those reps in, because I will say, like, the one great thing about Spag's defense is he's going to make you play like all different positions. So you know, it's nice to be able to get those reps in, because if something happens, you might get put to the other side of the line, or you might be in a different slot this game. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
My defensive player of the game is Danny Shelton.
Danny.
I think he is making his way to a 53-man roster spot. He's lost weight. He looks good.
Spags had high praise for him today.
He's been pancaking people. Like,
his jersey almost fits him this year.
Right. But I will say, I listened to his press conference the other day. And this is actually why I picked him. I listened to his press conference the other day. And it's so funny because every single Chiefs player that came to the podium looked white. Like, they were exhausted. They were like, all right, training camp is over. Training camp was cute. Now we're really like the work. Spags is really, I'm not Spags. Andy is really putting us to work right now. And they were tired. He was red in the face, all of this. But I will say, like, super confident. He was like, you know what I mean? Like, I truly enjoy being on this team. He was like, but my goal is not to be a practice squad player. It's to be, oh, shoot, it's that time. My goal, It
just scared me. I wasn't expecting it.
It's that time. And we didn't even got into week 3 yet. So I'm going to go quick. Long story short, I truly appreciate Danny Shelton because he understands the impact and the role that he can make on this team. And one thing that he said that really stuck out to me is he ain't here for fun. Like, he's here to get that 3rd ring this season.
Yeah.
That was something that really stuck out to me. So I truly think that he's going to come in here. I think he's going to make this 53-man roster. I think he's going to make a huge impact. Like I said, he's went out there. He's put in the work. He's lost a lot of weight. He's got in shape. And he just looks like he's a lot more flexible. He can move. He can do all the things that he needs to do to be in that position. And so with that being said, he is my defensive player of the game, and I'm so excited about it. So let's quickly talk about week 3. Last preseason game. Praise God. Jesus. Get us past preseason, please. We are ready for week 1. But we are going up against the Browns, who I don't know if you've seen it. Lexi sent a tweet to us 3 in our group chat. and I don't remember which player it is, but they freed up some cap space and got a whole lot of extra money now. So they got about $38 million free on the books right now. So it looks like they're going out there to add another piece to either their offense or their defense. But we go against the Browns finally at home at Arrowhead on Saturday at noon. And if you are going to this game, please hydrate because it is going to be hot AF.
Please.
Yeah. It's not going to be as hot as it was this week, but it's still going to be at least 90 degrees.
94. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been over 100 every single day since Saturday. So 90 might actually feel kind of nice. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
like the heat indexes have been like 120.
But it's at noon. It's not like it's a 3 o'clock game or a 7 o'clock game. It's at the peak time of the day. It's gonna be.
I think the peak time is 3. It gets that's the hottest time of the day. So it's going to be getting hotter as you're there.
So at the in the fourth quarter when you're like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Plus you're like jumping up and down and you're yelling and like it gets, when you're there for cold weather games, you shed everything because you get hot.
Right. So how much do y'all think the starters are actually going to start in week 3?
I don't think they're going to.
No.
I mean, this is actually the perfect time. So on my personal side here, the game's at noon, and then my niece has a game at 1. I coach games.
Are you playing again on Saturday?
Oh yeah. Yes. So literally this is the perfect time for me to have to basically miss a game because the starters aren't going to be playing. Exactly. But I do like watching all the guys trying to make the team though. Like I think we'll see potentially some Rashee Rice and some Justin Ross. And I don't think we'll see a ton because I feel like Rashee Rice definitely has established a spot on this roster. I feel like Justin Ross deserves a spot on this roster.
I think he's
so like I think we're keeping 7 wide receivers, which I don't know if Andy's ever done with the team.
What do you guys think about Amir? What do you think about Amir Smith-Marset?
I love him, but we don't have room.
We don't have room for him. I think he makes the practice squad this year.
And he's gonna get snatched up.
Yeah, I think he makes the practice squad this year.
And gets snatched.
Yeah. I hope not, but
he will.
He balled out last week. He did. I debated between him and for my offensive player because ISM went crazy.
He did.
He deserves to be, and maybe that's what they're doing. Like, we know how great of a player you are. We can't possibly fit you on this roster. Let you get you some tape. I don't know, but I know we're not taking 8 receivers, but if we were, I would love for him to.
I would lock him in there, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like sometimes I don't want to start a Justin Watson blah train because I like Justin Watson, but sometimes I look at who all of these young wide receivers that are battling for a roster spot. And I think like, I almost wish we didn't have to have a Justin Watson because I feel like we have so many bright young stars trying to hit our roster right now. And yes, it's nice to have a guy that Mahomes already knows he's played with for a season, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. But I wish we could start building this wide receiver room. Like we're already building it so young.
Yeah.
And I wish we could keep the young guys who have proven like they can do it. Like they can be on this team, but we suddenly have a very deep wide receiver class, which I don't think people were expecting when we started this season and we didn't have McCole and, all that. Like,
there's like 13 receivers right now on the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I would like to see that. And I'd like to see also like the secondary, especially because like I think what Jody, you said earlier, you don't feel the depth on our D line as great. But I love watching the young guys in the secondary and in the wide receiver room really trying to fight for a spot. Yeah. And P. Ryan, we didn't talk about P. Ryan. He had a great game too.
Oh, I know.
I was actually gonna just ask about that. So when you think about our running back room, I think that we're gonna keep 4 running backs. I think that's like the smart thing to do is to keep 4 running backs. Is P. Ryan that person who makes that 4th spot?
He looked better than
CEH.
Prince. Well, Prince. That too, but I thought he looked better than Prince.
Yeah,
he did look better than Prince. And I think
Prince was like one of the training camp darlings this season.
But is he? Like, I think Chiefs social media does a great job of hyping up a guy. Because they don't want Chiefs fans to stress out about whatever. So when Chiefs fans were stressed out about wide receivers, it was nothing but receiver content. And then when Chiefs fans were stressed out about running backs, it was nothing but running back content. Hell, CEH was on the flyer for this past Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think we keep 4 running backs. I know a lot of people are strangely like, I don't know why CEH is still here. He needs to go. CEH isn't going anywhere, y'all. He's going to be on this team this year. We're not taking that cap hit for him. It's only 1 more year. And we have great running backs in front of him. So once everybody accepts that, they'll just feel so much better.
Yeah, just think if you could have CEH as a 1, 2, or a 3, he's going to be a 3rd running back. Wouldn't you be happy that your 3rd running back has played in a Super Bowl that, you know, he didn't play in the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
he was there.
He had a very great start to the season last year. Last season, he had a bunch of touchdowns right off the bat. So
the first 5 games.
Yeah, you should feel confident that we're not relying on Clyde to be our number 1 anymore. Like, that's not who he is for us now. He's our number 3. And I feel really confident in Clyde being our number 3 because he's been a number 1 very recently. So if something were to happen, we should feel confident.
Too, by the way.
Huh?
He's probably going to start the season, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But, we should feel good that we have someone with recent 1 experience as our number 3. And he's had 1 experience in the Andy Reid system. So if that's who your number 3 running back is, good job. Congratulations. You got a good one. So we just need to lay off Clyde and accept he's going to be here and move on.
Amen, sister.
And I do think P. Ryan did really well in this preseason. I think he looked phenomenal against the Cardinals. He had some great runs. He has some great vision. He's also this is his 4th or 5th camp he's been in, I think, this season. So, so for him, I mean, sure. If he wants to make a case to make this roster, please. And then hopefully we can stash Prince on the practice squad.
Yeah.
However we end up doing all that. But I do think I'm excited for this weekend just to get it over with. And it's going to be the backups. It's going to be the 3rd string guys, the 4th string guys.
Love it.
And I'm just excited to see who makes a case for themselves because they all want it so bad. They all want to be Chiefs, and I want them all to be Chiefs because I want them all to win. And I think, being on the Chiefs right now, which is amazing, is such a privilege. And it's, you have a chance at winning if you're on this team. So, they all want to do their absolute best to make it. So I just hope, I know we're going to get a great game out of these guys. I think the Browns actually have a great team.
They do.
And they have a lot of great depth. And so I think it's actually going to be a really good matchup for our guys. So I'm actually looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be good. And then we really go down from however 90, 100 people we have right now to 53-man, to our 53-man roster.
Yeah.
Next week, really early. So
on Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday by 4 p.m. or something.
That's going to be very telling of this game too. 1, I'm probably only going to be paying attention to the defense. 2, I think there's going to be a lot of the guys who are going to be playing are the ones who might be borderline. We think we want you. We don't know. We want to see a little bit more from you. So I think a lot of our guys who we know are going to make the roster, they're not going to play. I think a lot of guys who they already got their mind made up on, they're not going to play. And I think a lot of the borderline on the fence guys who they are interested in, they're going to get a lot of burn, especially once the second quarter gets here.
Yeah. Let's be real. The 3rd week of preseason is not for the starters. It's for the guys who are trying to make the roster and trying to make someone else's roster.
And it's so difficult now because we didn't do cuts throughout the season. So
right.
you got 40 guys who you're do you make this roster?
That's hard.
That's a lot of guys. You know what I mean? So
I feel like they probably already have a good idea of who will make it.
Oh yeah.
Like there's probably like 4 or 5 guys that they're like on the fence with.
Yeah. Maybe more than that.
Maybe
40 people to cut.
I know it's a lot.
It's a big number.
That's a huge number. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad I'm not the person who has to be like,
oh my gosh, same.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Because I can see how that's tough. And a guy who maybe didn't play good week 1 or week 2.
Yep.
Who knows? His week 3 performance might be something interesting. But we are finally at the end. Preseason is almost over. Thank you, Jesus. I can't believe we made it. We made it. We made it. We are almost to week 1. You said we had how many days?
16.
Oh, not at Nicole Harmon days anymore. We're at 16 days.
Len Dawson.
Not Rasheed. Richie James.
Richie James yesterday. Len Dawson's today. Tomorrow's Patrick Mahomes Day.
Patrick Mahomes Day.
I love me. Okay, well, yeah, let's wrap this up. Before we get out of here, we got to make sure that we pay some bills. Paying bills. Shout out to our sponsor, Ken Seltzer. Thank you. We love our sponsor so much. Again, first Black-owned seltzer in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. Lexi is drinking a can right now. Why don't you just go ahead and tell people how delicious it is?
It is so delicious. So this is pineapple and peach flavor, and it's 100% fruit.
Correct.
It tastes so natural. It's like not artificially sweetened. It's just naturally fruit sweetened. So when you're drinking it, it's not like overly like potently sweet. So it's delicious. Clean and refreshing. Perfect for the for the hot day.
Which it is right now. I mean,
unbelievably hot.
It's good in the can. It's good on ice. If you wanted to mix it, you can mix it. You don't have to mix it. It's only 5% alcohol. So good.
It's about my limit. Is 5% alcohol.
That's your limit. Delicious.
Yeah.
It just goes down so easy. It's so good.
It does. I love it. And the can is cute. I love the cute can.
I think it's very cute.
With that being said, we will be doing a giveaway the first week, September 5th, getting ready to go into the home opener. If you follow Ken Seltzer and Kingdom Queen, you got to follow both to be able to be a part, to get some of this free seltzer. That is delicious. So if you're not following Ken Seltzer, go ahead, tap the bottle. Tap the bottle. Here I go. If you're not following Ken Seltzer, please make sure our page to make sure you can find their @name so you can follow them. Follow Kingdom Queens. I'm not going to take Chrissy's job. I'm going to pivot to her to let her do the rest of this.
That's my job and I love it. So guys, what's super exciting about our show next week is we will be one of the first shows who's going to be able to give a rundown of our 53-man roster. And yes, we know there's scout team and things like that, but the 53-man roster is who we are really excited to find out because that's who will be dressing out on Sundays. So we will be one of the first shows to cover that top to bottom. We're really excited about that. So everybody get excited. It's going to be a great weekend of football, last week of preseason, and then, guys, we are right there. So until next time, your queens have spoken.
Bye, guys.
Bye.